Hello everybody, this is Iced Blood. Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. We begin this episode with the Bowl of Embers, the fight against Ifrit. However, there's a cutscene first because this is an RPG and we have to set the stage. However, instead of my usual tactic of reading the dialogue out loud in funny voices, I'm going to give a broad strokes overview of what we've got going on here. Primarily because there were too many instances in this particular footage where I kind of went over the dialogue too fast to read it entirely. I think the main reason for this is other players are waiting for me, and part of my brain knew that, and so I tried to be as quick as I could. However, like I said, a lot of those instances when I went back to read the dialogue, it was too fast. So, what we've basically got here, obviously we've got the summoning. There is Ifrit right there. Look at him, isn't he gorgeous? But what also we have is the Amalja being all servanty and proselytizing and such. And we are being given up as sacrifices, effectively. I and my Immortal Flames allies. And that's a problem, I think you can tell. But also, the Amalja are racist because even their allies cannot be allowed to see the rite of summoning without being sacrificed. So, haha, you got what you deserved. I hope you're proud of yourselves. Though we have Ungust and the really smarmy looking dude, and I don't like either of them, so I'm not particularly bothered by this, but this is actually pretty heinous, because what we've got going on here is Ifrit's... he has a method up his sleeve to make thought slaves, effectively, and we're going to see that happen right here. Apparently, Ifrit is low on servants because he needs more. So we've got this. Oh no! Oh. I guess I'm fine. Never mind then. Yes, so the others, my Immortal Flame comrades and Ungist, they didn't fare so hot. They are now mindlessly devoted to Ifrit. Something about me is special, though. Maybe it's that echo thing. But I'm not. And that's kind of what sets up the actual fight here, because, of course, I'm not worried about this. I'm perfectly fine. As it turns out, it's because, yes, my soul belongs to another, it turns out. Maybe it's the crystal. Ooh, that would be cool. But anyway, Elion's got his game face on, so let us begin. Yeah, see right there. Audible cue that I'm taking up too much frickin' time. Let's get to this. Smell not the taint, truth of thine allegiance, blah blah blah, paragons warned, blah blah blah, and here we go. Makes it seem like I'm fighting him alone for some reason, however, of course that is not the case. This is a duty finder situation. We have a full party. Well, I guess not a full party, this is a light party of 4. So, this is the primal fight. No dungeon, no puzzles, no sequence of bosses, just the big man himself. Now, primary thing we've got to worry about in this fight is basically the floor. This is the Lord of the Inferno, and we're in the Bowl of Embers, so there's a lot of hot things going on. And Ifrit has a lot of attacks that cause the floor to rise up and try to burn us, basically, you know, various pyroclasms and such like that, so you don't want to be standing in them. And that's about it, honestly. It's a pretty standard fight as I understand it. Then again, I've only played this fight as a damage dealer. I bought this fight. I fought this boss, is probably what I meant to say. Wow, I am sorry. What I probably meant to say was that I fought this boss, there we go, for the first time in the beta. This was the final fight offered in the beta's progression of the story, so I've fought this guy a few times. And as you can see, yeah, a lot of instances where he will set things on the ground, and if you're standing in it after a certain amount of time, you will be incinerated. So you don't want to do that. But after this is what I call, this fight's basically the capping point for the opening of the story. This is like the first act, I guess I would say. The first third, maybe? I might be a little too generous with that. I actually don't really know. I have watched some amount of the full progression of the main storyline, but of course Heaven's Word will be out soon. As of this recording, actually, it's only a couple days before it's available to the general public. But anyway, this is the big thing. If you're watching this for any kind of strategizing whatsoever, and why are you doing that? I'm not a strategist at all. You want to kill that nail thing, because if you don't kill it by the time Ifrit falls down onto the floor like that, you will die. That's just kind of the end of it. So you have to get rid of that before he jumps down and causes that big attack, because, yeah, it'll ruin you. I had... The first few times I fought Ifrit during the beta, that happened at least 2 or 3 times before we finally kind of figured it out and eventually took him down. As you can see though, other than that, if you do those things, if you avoid the things on the floor and you kill the nail, then you're going to be fine. This is not all that particularly difficult. The hard mode of this fight that shows up later on, I'm pretty sure this one has one. I think all the primals have a hard mode. It's probably quite a bit harder. But for this one, not so bad. Not so bad at all. It's pretty simple. We're almost done here. And like I said, what's funny is that the story treats it like you're fighting alone. I can only imagine what it would be like for Elion trying to fight this thing alone. Just not fun times. There are so many things that are dependent on just keeping yourself moving and constantly keeping up damage, and for Elion that's basically impossible. So thank God I have my friends here. The blessing of light does defy you, sir. We are done. That's it. Ifrit is down. So, let's see what we've got. Ifrit has fallen and has disappeared. Some god. I get the feeling the reason that we were able to take him down so easily is because he was newly summoned and didn't have much of his strength back. But in exchange for defeating Ifrit, we get ourselves a new crystal. Look at that. Isn't it pretty? And then we get brought to the Temple of Light, or whatever. This reminds me of Zelda for whatever reason. But okay, so we had the one, I remember. Let's see, where's that? There it is. There's the first one. We got hold of that one. And now we have a second one. Well, look at that. Kind of gives us an idea of how the storyline is going to progress, I suppose. And... alright, so we got a little vision of what's going on with that little crystal thing, and we stayed awake this time. Look at that. Pray forgive my lateness. Yeah, yet again, I had to do your job for you. Good job, guys. Excellent work. I was delayed by a congregation of Amalja's zealots. I swear, each seemed more evangelical than the last. Persistent lot. Oh! Look at that. Okay, you're forgiven. That was frickin' cool. I see the blood sworn wasted no time extracting the captives. No less than I'd expect from the Flame General's hand-picked men. As for those two, it's fair to say their hardships have only just begun. They have much to answer for. I feel I owe you an apology, Elion. Had I known this mission would prove so dangerous, I would never have let you to face it alone. You've been given a veritable baptism of fire. Yeah, whatever, I'm good. But let us continue this conversation on more agreeable surrounds. Camp Drybone, shall we say? This way, sir. Alright, there we go. And that's it, we're done, and we have victorious sounds playing now. So that was the mighty Ifrit. what a disappointment he was. The readings are nowhere near what I'd anticipated, even taking Uldon interference into account. You should know better than to rely upon 5-year-old data left by the 7th Legion. Nor can we expect any form of support from the motherland, given the troubles at court. We have only ourselves to rely upon. Ever the pessimist, my dear Livia. Promise me you'll never change. We've wasted enough time here. That meter of yours is too old to give any reading worth a damn. Not that there was aught worth a damn for it to read, but I take your point. I suppose we must content ourselves with the knowledge that we've achieved our primary objective. Yet I find I'm troubled by that adventurer's unexpected show of strength. Could such a foe prove a hindrance to our plans? Perhaps, but that is a consideration for another time. You've been given a task. That is your priority. I suggest you treat it as such. Fail to do as my lord commands, and I will spare him the trouble of punishing you. With allies like that, beware a woman in love. I shall need to be on my best behavior. Alright, so we got a little glimpse of the Empire there. That was fun. 5 minutes remaining to complete the Bowl of Embers. I think we're fine. Yep, that was it. No talking, because I spent too much time watching the cutscene. But we're all good. That is the end. You can tell by the victorious music playing now. So let us leave duty. Alright, level is no longer synced. We have entered a sanctuary. Yeah, because we were actually in an area that isn't part of the main game, I think. So we're going to come out of this instance in a different spot, I think. I know that music. Haha! Back at Drybone we are. Excellent. Alright. Let's see here. Let's talk to Thancred. Ah, there you are, Elion. Come, rest a while. You'll have no better opportunity. After witnessing their god's ignominious defeat, the Emalja will be less inclined to risk our wrath. For a time, at least. Now, where were we? Ah, yes, I was in the process of apologizing. I do hope you can forgive me. I arrived too late to be of any use to you or the abductees. They may be whole of body, but the same cannot be said of their minds. For once a man is tempered... but it ill suits me to dwell on the negatives. Amidst all our misfortunes, there's still reason to rejoice. Ifrit is slain, and by your hand, no less. That is the deed of no ordinary individual, Elion. Not that I ever thought you were ordinary. On the contrary, I've long suspected that you have the potential to shape the fate of this realm. What can I say? My fine eye for talent remains undimmed. Minfilia will be proud beyond all reckoning when she hears of your deeds. I trust you shan't object to my bearing the tidings to her. That way I can claim to have contributed something to this mission. You, meanwhile, have earned yourself a rest. Take some time to relax and return to the Waking Sands when you're good and ready. We can discuss matters in more detail then. Just don't take too long, will you? The realm's problems won't solve themselves. Alright, oh, excuse me. That was basically the game's prompting us to kind of do what we want for now. The story won't continue until we go back to the Waking Sands. We could quit. This episode could end just right here, but I think instead what we're going to do hi there, is we're going to keep it going. Because there's something very specific that I want to get to. And it's going to take a little bit more time. The primal fight is a big deal, but there's actually quite a bit of story stuff to get through before we unlock what we're going to get as a reward for doing that. Because you notice we didn't get any loot. There's no gear, there's no any kind of treasure or anything involved in defeating Ifrit proper, not like normal dungeons. However, plenty will be unlocked for us now that we have proven ourselves, now that we've been baptized by fire, as they say. So, let's go here. Ah, the triumphant hero returns. Thancred told us the news upon his arrival. He's presently in the Solar, giving a full report to Lady Minfilia. You should join them at once. Lady Minfilia is most eager to see you. Alright. We did get something. We got the Dawn wrist guards. But that's a minor thing. My late arrival nearly cost Elion his life. I wasn't there when the Amal-Ra took him prisoner. And I wasn't there when they served him to Ifrit. Yes, by some miracle he survived, but that does not excuse the fact that he should never have had to face such dangers alone. I failed him utterly. Just as I'm failing you all. What's done is done, Thancred. You can ill blame yourself for every... Ah. Hi. Elion, it's so good to see you again. Impeccable timing, my friend. I just finished regaling Minfilia with your heroic exploits. Sure you were, dude. Thancred has told me everything. You've done well to return to us. The perils you faced were undeniably great, yet a part of me believes that I had no cause to fear. And now we can put paid to our long investigation. As we suspected, the Amal-Ra undertook both the robbery and the abduction with the aim of summoning their primal, Ifrit. Nor is this tale limited to Uldar. Similar incidents have been rife in both Limsa Lominsa and Gridania of late. I dare say you've been curious as to how these crimes are linked to the primals. Permit me to explain. Having manifested in the physical realm, primals must consume ether if they are to maintain their presence here. And the stronger they become, the more aether they require. Now, aether exists throughout creation. It flows through all life and permeates the very air that we breathe. Alas, this alone will not suffice to sustain the likes of Ifrit. Nay, he and his kind require a more concentrated source of ether. Crystals. It is for this reason that incidents involving crystals can often be traced back to a primal. Which leads us to the why of the abductions. To understand this, you must first understand how primals are born. When all is well with the world, primals possess no physical form. Their essence is dispersed across the great river of ether. However, when the world is plunged into chaos, those who worship the primals cry out to their gods for deliverance from suffering. These cries serve as a beacon toward which a primal's essence is irresistibly drawn. It is this coming together, or etheric coalescence, which grants the being's physical form. Once born, a primal gains strength from its followers' worship. The more numerous and fervent they are, the more powerful their god becomes. But the primals are seldom satisfied with such reverence as their adherents freely give, and in order to gain more power, they do not scruple to create followers. They do this by tempering mortals, a process to which you yourself were subjected. Yet even as Ifrit took your comrades in his thrall, you alone remained unaffected. This is thanks to the power you possess, the Echo. Ah, I was right. We know not the why of it, but those blessed with the Echo are immune to primal influence. It is as though a greater power protects us. When first you came to us, I told you that the Echo would be instrumental in dealing with the primal threat. I trust you now begin to see why. The recent incidents all share a common trait: meticulous planning. Such elaborate designs are in such a new development, and one which fills me with an unshakable sense of foreboding. While I share your concerns, my presiding feeling is one of relief at your safe return. The immortal flames assured me that they will deal with the aftermath, so you need not concern yourself with that. We may rest easy for a time. I suggest you take full advantage of the respite, Elion. You may be sure it won't last long. Once the people learn the identity of the hero who felled Ifrit, I fear you will have nary a moment to yourself. Whether she intended to or no, Minfilia neglected to tell you something. Something I think it would be best you heard from one of us. It concerns the tempered abductees that were rescued. I'm sorry to report that all are to be put to death, the flames with whom you were imprisoned included. Needless to say, this information must not be made known to the public. I swear to you that we would not do this if there were any other recourse, but once a man is tempered, he is tempered for life. His very existence lends strength to the primal whom he cannot choose but worship. And so we Scions continue our fight that no more innocents need be sacrificed. I hope that you will continue to stand with us, Elion. That is interesting, but I should be going. I must offer my apologies to the Flame General for the losses his people suffered. Till next time. That is troubling indeed. So, if they are enthralled, they must die. That seems harsh, but I guess I understand. Sort of. Gods forgive me. How many more lives? Louis Soir would never have allowed this to happen. My, aren't you hard on yourself? I have to do better. I have to be stronger. You are such a protagonist, Thancred. Well, anyway, that is basically the end of the Ifrit storyline. This first little section that started with the dungeons and everything, and I suppose I could end the episode here. However, I'm not sure I'm going to do that. In fact, I'm sure, well, if you look at the length of the episode, you probably know whether or not I'm going to do that. Nope, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. What have we got here? What reward are we reaping? Until not so very long ago, you were but one of the many adventurers seeking to make their way in Eorzea. But for your character and courage, you were raised to the esteemed post of envoy. Thereafter you traveled the realm, aiding those in need without thought of reward, confirming to Thancred that the Scions would benefit from your aid. And no sooner had you joined us than you personally bested the primal Ifrit. You have achieved a great deal in short time, and won fame in so doing. Alas, fame does not come without a price, as you will soon discover. We have guests, Elion. Or rather, you have guests. Beg pardons? Lady Menphilia, radiant as always. I am given to understand that the scions of the Seventh Dawn have but recently welcomed a new hero into their midst. I'm here on behalf of the Maelstrom, Grand Company of Limsalominsa, to offer said hero a place of honor within our ranks. As you can see, Elion, your recent exploits have garnered you the attentions of the Grand Companies of Eorzea. Each organization would have Ifrit's Bane for its own. To this end, all three have sent officers to court you. They would not ordinarily go to such lengths to enlist a new recruit. That they have is evidence of their high regard for you. I found myself wondering how word of Elion's deed spread so quickly, that the Immortal Flame should know of his triumph is to be expected, but what of the other Grand Companies? Eep! Your reputation precedes you, Master Shivara. 'Tis no ordinary man who can face a primal and emerge the victor. The Order of the Twin Adder has need of valiant men such as you. Join your strength to ours, and together let us ensure that peace ever reigns over the Twelves Wood. What a pleasure it is to finally meet you, Master Shivara. My comrades speak of you in the most glowing terms. Why, even before you aided us against the Amalja and that dread primal, yours was already a respected name in Uldar. Our people know you, and love you well. A man of your talent belongs with the Immortal Flames. Join your strength to ours, friend, and together let us secure a prosperous future for Uldar. The Admiral was not exaggerating when she said you have the look of a hero. Full often does she speak of you, friend. It is only natural that we should want you for the Maelstrom. Join our strength to ours, and together let us see the grand vessel of Limsalominsa to the shores of glory. Lady Menphilia? Very well. Though I'm quite sure you need no reminding, mayhap a brief summary of the situation would help to clarify your thoughts on this matter. As you know, the Grand Companies are all-encompassing organizations, ill-encompassing, that's it, empowered to call upon the martial, economic, and technological resources of their respective city-states in times of strife. There are presently 3 such organizations in Eorzea: the Maelstrom of Limsalominsa, the Order of the Twin Adder of Gridania, and the Immortal Flames of Uldar. Serving a Grand Company means serving the nation to which it belongs. You will be charged with its defense and tasked with advancing its cause. In return for your faithful service, you'll be furnished with various rewards, some of which may well prove useful to you in your other endeavors. If you're agonizing over which of the Grand Companies best deserves your loyalty, be at ease. The commitment you make this day need not be permanent. Should you wish to shift your allegiance at a later date, you are entitled to do so. And yet I concede that it is no small choice you face. Excuse me, sorry about that little interference there. Let's see. A thought occurs to me. You will of course recall that the 3 city-states are planning to hold remembrance services. Well, as part of the proceedings, I'm given to understand that the leader of each Grand Company will deliver an address. Hearing these addresses ought to help you make an informed decision. What say you, my dear officers? A fine suggestion. You're as wise as you are beautiful, my lady. Very well. Let Elion hear our leaders speak, then return here with his decision. We eagerly await your answer. Okay, well, there we go. So that's what we have for the next leg of the journey. I see. I know full well that adventurers are by their nature a liberty-loving breed and not best suited to the discipline of military service, but I strongly urge you to join a grand company nonetheless. While the promise of reward is enticing in and of itself, it is not the only benefit. You are possessed of great power, Elion, and with it you are capable of doing untold good. Yet know that great power is wont to attract attention, not all of it friendly. There will be those who wish you ill, and you must needs be on the lookout for them. Yet however vigilant you are, you're but one man. In the midst of a grand company, however, you will be one man amongst many, a friend amongst friends. Your achievements will be shared, and so will the danger. I can think of no better arrangement. Of course, joining one organization need not mean leaving another. I hope that we can continue to rely upon your aid. The 12 know that we will have need of it in the days ahead. The Grand Companies seek to protect their own nations. We Scions, on the other hand, seek to preserve the future of Eorzea as a whole. Similar, yet not quite the same. Now then, I expect you will be afield more often in the future. As such, I would have you carry this link pearl with you at all times. It will allow us to stay in touch regardless of location. Eorzea is changing, Elion, and you have the power to shape it anew. None can say what the morrow will bring, but so long as we believe in ourselves, there is naught we cannot achieve. Now, it is time you made ready for your journey. Before you depart, be sure to speak to Tataru. She will apprise you as to where and when the remembrance services are due to take place. Tataru? Anyway, I don't know how to pronounce names. Quest accepted. The Grand Company decision is actually a very important one. Through it, we will unlock a few things, not the least of which being our first mount, which is always exciting. However, of course, there's quite a long-running quest in front of us. A bit of a storyline, a story dump, so to speak. You know, they're just going to toss a bunch of story at our feet and we'll figure out where to go from there. So most of that I'm going to save for the next episode, which will probably be quite a long one, actually, so that we can get all of these things in place at once. I'm sorry about all the attention you're getting, Elion. I might have sung your praises a bit too loudly, and often to a few too many people. Next time I'll be sure to hold my tongue, literally, if necessary. Anyway, I expect you want to know where and when the remembrance services are taking place. If all goes to plan, Gridania's Grand Company, the Order of the Twin Adder, will hold the first of the 3 services, and Elder Seer Khan Esena will deliver her address at Miketo's amphitheater. I should probably mention at this point that due to the organizational challenges involved in assembling all the involved parties, it's possible the order of services might change. Still, there's not much we can do about that, so make Gridania your first port of call. Next, you'll need to go to Uldar, where Flame General Raubon Aldin will be addressing the masses at the Royal Promenade. Oh, and it's rumored there's to be a special guest. How exciting. Last but not least, you must make your way to the stateroom in Limsa where Maelstrom Chief Admiral Merle Blofisvin will be giving her address. I'm still not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. The room is accessible via the Admiral's lift. Identify yourself to the sentry, Zenthale, and he'll admit you. Got all that? Well, off you go then. I hope you find the remembrance services suitably educational. I suggest visiting the city-states in my prescribed order, though with your record of impeccable timing and luck, the schedule may well change in favor of your preferred travel plans. Farewell. Alright, what that means is basically no matter where we go first, we'll get each address as we arrive. But we're going to save that for next time, so we're going to let Elion sit down here and take a load off, and we'll see what happens in the next video. Bye-bye.